their IRMA memories with the IRMA community. This community includes the alumni, students, faculty, and management support staff. We believe that your talk will motivate the IRMA community through knowledge dissemination and career choices. It will help in bringing alumni from across the batches, geographies, academics, and professional backgrounds together. As such, you will help us add your value to our social capital. So, I welcome our speaker, moderator, CP Mohan sir, and the audience to join the talk. The topic for today's talk is how leading organizations can be made easier. Our speaker is Mr. Rajesh Kapoor from PRM2. He is CEO, Cohesion Foundation Trust. And the talk will be moderated by Jairam Dingankar. He's from PRM2. I request everyone to be on mute for the smooth conduct of the session. You can always inbox your queries in chat box, and we will be recording the session for those who are not able to attend the session, and we will be putting the same on YouTube. So without further ado, over to you, sir. Jairam, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. My best wishes to all of you and IRMA community. So, I'm here to introduce Rajesh Kapoor, who has been my classmate in 83. And then since then, we have been in touch all through for now getting to almost 40 years. Now, we both started with NDDB, and then, he has found a way of his own sometime after joining NDDB. And then last 35 to 40 years, he has been in leadership position. So I'm sure we will have a rich learning experience when he starts talking about his career path and what is the learning from his previous bosses and what is his own learning as he led Cohesion to become a big force on the NGS scene in India. Thank you. Thanks, Rajesh. So you can carry on.
Sure. Thanks, Mohan, Ritesh, Shruti, Pramila, Jairam for this opportunity. And I strongly believe in this, that leading organizations can be made easier. That's why I suggested this topic to be discussed. And a brief introduction has been given about me. I'll just talk about briefly the career journey. I started in 83 with National Dairy Development Board. I was posted in Bihar initially as in Patna Dairy Project, which NDDB was managing. Then I shifted to Periyar.
Apologies, sir, to interrupt, but there are some people who are joining today's talk for the first time. So just wanted to request Mohan sir to give the IAA intro, and then we can start with the...
Sure. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Mohan sir.
So, Ritesh, can you play that presentation, or should I just do it extempo?
We can do it extempo because I do not have it now.
Okay. So friends, my first of all compliments to Rajesh, my very old time friend, for agreeing to speak on this occasion today. That's one. And secondly, my apologies that I am taking away a bit of your time. We made this a kind of a protocol in these IRMAn talks, that we will also give a brief introduction about the association, so that everybody, we get an opportunity to talk to people, whoever attends this, on a one-on-one basis. So first of all, I just want to tell you that, like many of you may aware, this association was started in 1986 as a registered under the Charitable Societies Act of 1860. And being in Gujarat, it actually gets automatically registered as a deemed public trust under the Bombay Public Trust Act 1951. So we have these two regulators of the society registrar and the Deputy Commissioner. So, there are a lot of compliance matters that are pending for 36 odd years. And, the current committees of from 2022 onwards is actually trying very hard to get all the compliances in place. Uh, so I just want to make this point here that we are facing enormous challenges in actually bringing some kind of sanity into the overall functioning of the association. And my request is that all the well-meaning members of the IRMA Alumni Association should rationally, whatever you think is rational, on a rational basis, as people of scientific temper, people who are professionals, high grade professionals, and probably forming the top 1% of the country's population, need to stand by what is necessary to be done in the interest of the IAA, which stands in the interest of the entire alumni community and in some way or the other, the entire stakeholders of IRMA. I hope I make myself very clear on this. The other point I wanted to mention is that we all of us are currently connected mostly through the WhatsApp, which is a very ephemeral medium in the sense that you lose a phone or you change a phone or something happens, all the WhatsApp messages disappears very quickly. So therefore, we have a website which is the irmaalumni.org. I will encourage all of you, every one of you, to please register on this website, because that is the institutional permanency. The visibility and the permanent existence of our association would be through our website. If the website changes, it will automatically migrate into a different website, but web portal management, but the website and its protocols would remain the same. So I would request all of you to please register on it and thereafter log on to it frequently and create the traffic out there. We would be, from the IAA point of view, communicating more and more through the website, because that is where history will be available and institutional memory could be established. So that is one. And, the second request. The last point is that I want to compliment Richi Agarwal, who started this process, and Ritesh Chaturvedi, who is actually anchoring it eminently, and for continuing this IRMAN talks in such wonderful professional way. In fact, Ritesh has already built up a calendar, I think up to the December of 2024. Every fortnight is actually scheduled for an IRMAN to come and talk before the various, for the different people who would attend this. People would be different, and we may have small attendance, big attendance, depending on their areas of interest. But it is magnificent that this is being sustained on a long-term basis. So that's all from my side. My compliments to Rajesh again for giving us this opportunity to listen to you. Thank you, Dingankar, for anchoring this, for being the moderator for this. And thanks to Shruti and Ritesh again for for making this possible. My tributes to all of you, compliments to Rajesh again, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
That's
sir.
all from my side. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So,
Rajesh, please
can I
continue. My
talk?
apologies again for
request
disrupting
Rajesh.
or
Okay.
interrupting. Yeah.
So those who have joined recently, Mr. Dingankar has already introduced me to the group. I am from PRM 2. So the topic which I am taking up is how leading organizations can be made easier. And I have been leading organizations for almost more than 3 decades. And so this topic or this value is very dear to me. And then I thought that, and I strongly believe that it can be made easier. So that's why I thought of sharing my experience related to this. I'll start with my career journey. After passing out in March 1983, I joined National Dairy Development Board. Initially, I was in Bihar, Patna Dairy Project, which NDDB was managing. Then I was in South, in Periyar district for some time. And then moved to North, where I was positioned in Delhi, Rohtak, Chandigarh, managing different projects of different states. And like on pattern of Patna Dairy, Rohtak Dairy project was also taken over, and I was involved in planning of that takeover, being as an important team member for 3 years till the project was handed over back to Haryana Dairy Federation, and then I moved to Chandigarh. Lastly, I was at Anand in planning, monitoring, and evaluation group for northern and eastern India, managing dairy, oil seeds, fruit and vegetable, all those type of projects. And then somehow, then I shifted to Aga Khan Rural Support Program in 91 beginning. I was with AKRSP for 6 years. I was handling community management of natural resources project. I'll talk about that a bit later. Then in 96 and 97 beginning, I got an opportunity to work with a private consultancy organization called Dalal Consultants and Engineers Limited. They were Indian unit of Mott MacDonald, which is UK-based consultancy organization, and later on it was taken over by Mott MacDonald. And they were interested to start a social sector consultancy division, and I was asked to set up that and hand over to the team there, and I did that. And since 98, I have been with Cohesion. Why I chose to be in NGO sector and leave National Dairy Development Board. As I explained to you that I had been in field for almost 6.5 years of initial period with NDDB, except a little time in Delhi, and which was more of a transition from field-based to Rohtak Dairy, because we had to take over Rohtak Dairy, so I was involved in planning for that. And when I came to Anand, so that time I felt that I should be in field for some more time, and at that time NDDB's role had changed. There were no more spearhead teams. So I got an opportunity to lead a project on community management of natural resources with AKRSP. And then I thought that, yes, I should take plunge into it. And then we also know that during mid-80s and early 90s, the NGO sector had been witnessing a change. They were opening up to professionals, be it from IRMAn, IIFM, TIS, a lot of XISS, and a lot of things. And then at that time, this Pradhan, AKRSP, CRY, those, and many more organizations were there. I got an opportunity from CRY as well as AKRSP, but CRY was posting me in Mumbai, so then I thought that I should take AKRSP's opportunity, which gives me an more being closer to the rural communities. And the project which the area which I was handling was very tough, for both from socially, economically, and environmentally, because it was a semi-arid area. And then for 3.5 years, I led the team, and then I was shifted to head office in Ahmedabad, handling institutional development, microfinance, forestry, and policy-related aspects. So these 6 years were quite fruitful in the sense that there was a diversification from dairying, oilseeds to overall comprehensive natural resource development. And then this NGO sector gave me opportunity that there can be freedom, there is scope of innovations, we are closer to vulnerable communities, and then of course, yes, above all, we can practice passion, we can enjoy the work. So that's what I had been doing. And then in various stages of my career, that because for leadership, there is need to have a lot of learnings. So what have been my learnings? I'll just talk about that. that first is a decentralization and delegation in different layers of the organization. Power shouldn't be just centered with the one or two individuals. Otherwise, the system doesn't work for very long. So, so there is a need for that, which these values I have learned and practicing. And then many times we react to the situations, but what I have learned is that we have to be very proactive in starting from governance, HR aspects, resource mobilization. And resource mobilization, I'm not just talking about material, it includes, sorry, I'm not just talking about financial, it includes material, human resources, technology, those information, those things. Program management aspects, external stakeholder management. So that we don't react to the problem, but we are, it's more like a risk management strategy also. We are proactive and aware of what all can happen in future, and so be prepared for those instead of be in reactive mode always. Because I worked in a few organizations which used to practice reactive mode. Then, of course, very dear to me is shared leadership, because as I said, that leadership shouldn't be with just centered around one or two individuals. It should be shared leadership at different levels. Management systems have to be simple so that all the layers in the organization can understand those and practice those. And then, see, growth has to be planned and executed, especially for the starts and the organizations which are in infancy. So many times we try to scale up from the beginning, but what I have learned is that it has to be done very step by step. So like in a ladder, we cannot jump from second to 8th step directly. We have to follow third, fourth, fifth. So once we have strong foundation, then I have seen that the organizations grow very fast. So because there will be ownership, we have to facilitate a lot of that people own the organization, whether it's board, whether it's the team, or even your other stakeholders. Another aspect which I have learned and practiced very rigorously is use of appreciative inquiry. Because we see the positives and build on those instead of just seeing the weaknesses. And I've been fortunate to get involved with, say, AKRSP, and then later on with Cohesion and few other organizations, where a lot of good environment for learning is there. So building a learning organization, not just of individual, but as an organization, we learn together. One aspect which has helped the organizations run very effectively is networking and alliances. Be part of different networks at state level, regional level, national level, international level, so that the strengths can be joined instead of just working in your own islands or in your own silos. And then, of course, what I strongly believe is that be it any organization, recognition has not to be just of an individual itself, it has to be of the entire family, because especially those who work in field areas, the spouses, kids, parents, they sacrifice a lot, they contribute a lot. So that recognition, I have always given that, and which has given a feeling of family instead of just employee-employer relationship. So the learning which I have brought into by working with different organizations, like I work with different leaders. And I can give you an example that on the first day of my reaching Patna, where I was to be part of Patna Dairy Project, and the director there, on the first day, three of us were from IRMAN, we were together meeting him for the first time. The first line he spoke was that, see, young people, you are being given powers of director of Patna Dairy Project. You take any decision, you have full freedom. And then I want results. That's what he said. And at that time, Powers of Patna Dairy project meant a lot in National Dairy Development Board, because that managing that project was very critical for NDDB, to prove that such dairies can also be managed. So that gives me a say how decentralization, delegation can be imbibed as a value. Then one of my directors in NDDB was, I'm not naming those, though I have a lot of respect for them. So they was very calm, keeping account of whatever is going on. Even he used to travel a lot, but paperwork moved very fast. Does not lingering on. Decisions are much faster, but with a very comprehensive, broader outlook. So understood importance of timely decisions, actions, as well as accountability. One of my directors was CEO was retired IS officer. So learned how to work with government from him. And also he used to go into a lot of details. Sometimes we used to feel that it was being done over more, because every morning we used to get a call what's happening in the project, and that time it was a trunk call system. There was no STDs, and the trunk call used to be for 3 minutes, get extended by 3 more minutes, and then finally with 3 minutes. So every day we would have 9 minutes conversation, because then telephone exchange will disconnect the line. So, and then yes, from a male CEO, I learned values of sensitive organization development, HR processes. Processes are very important. That I learned systems, professional, high quality, well-meaning publications. In many sectors, many times we ignore those. And gender sensitivity as a value, or inclusion. Now, of course, we talk about inclusion, and it's not just from gender perspective, but from others' perspectives also. Humility as a key value, that's one thing I have imbibed. And importance of transparency and accountability at different levels. Over to you, Dingankar, in case you have any point.
Yeah, good evening. Sorry to interrupt. Uh, there are so many different management styles, and some people believe in bullying the people, or some people believe in delegation. But Rajesh believes in very simple structure in management, and that has really helped cohesion to become so big and handle different projects in so many different places where he himself is not watching every day. So I will request him to explain, how to simplify the management in from the leadership perspective, and also what is his experience, of pitfalls in management by different leaders that he has seen in his own life. Thank you.
Sure. What I have learned is that these management systems should be very simple and should be bottom up. Instead of, say, the top management handing over a manual of system, so it should be bottom up, so that there is an ownership. But at the same time, we be very clear and we be very firm, and it should be communicated in very transparent manner, that there would be involvement of professionals also, who will then finalize these systems. So what I have seen is that many times, if those systems start in the vernacular language initially, and then get translated into English, and then professionals give their inputs and get involved in finalization, that has much more value than, say, starting with English.
Yeah. Rajesh, you can go to the next slide.
We understand that in India there are a lot of good people in field level. They are not don't know English so well. Those sort of things are there. Then, of course, now it had been there earlier also, but use of technology has to be there. Information technology has to be used in information management systems. And then capacity building at different levels, because if we have to run this management system very effectively, the capacity building becomes very important. So, and then the inputs or requirements will be very different at different levels. So we have to be very sensitive and plan in that manner and execute those.
Yeah, Rajesh,
inputs.
sorry to disturb you. Can
And
you
then,
just
of course,
next slide?
I'll just say, before that, there are two more points. One is that facilitate ownership of these systems, and then there has to be regular review of these systems, and then so that they're monitoring and evaluation whether the systems are working properly or not. It's not a Bible that we have developed this and then let's follow that forever, because the periodic revisions should be made. Yes, I'm moving to next lesson. Then though I believe in appreciative inquiry, but there was one question related to what weaknesses I have come across in leadership, and then how those can be avoided. So there are 3-4 points which I would like to highlight. One is that there is a need for active listening abilities, because many times we don't do that in this thing. A few of my bosses were not that active listeners. And then many times we as leaders draw conclusions from incomplete information. So now we don't cross-check the information. So we have to be cross-check, seek information from different sources. Like what Dingankar was saying, that I may be sitting in Ahmedabad, but then I know whatever is happening in Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, or Chhattisgarh, where all we work. But I may not be getting involved on a day-to-day basis. So there is a need for very effective information system and analyzing them. Then one of my directors, which I worked with, was very poor in planning and implementation, but he was very good in firefighting. So, but then what used to happen was that he would take over a project, start that, but then since planning is not proper, implementation is not proper, then there will be issues, HR issues, resource management issues, client management issues. And then many times clients would start making complaints. And then there would be firefighting after 6 months or 1 year of running the project, which affects the image of the organization, and then ultimately lot of losses to the organization itself, because firefighting comes at a cost. So then I also talked about need to be proactive rather than reactive decisions. So how as a leader we can be proactive, so that organizations, tasks, problems, processes and problems are maintained, managed. So one is we as leaders should lead by example instead of just preaching what should be done. And then I also believe that passion cannot be developed or transferred as a knowledge or skill. It's an attitude. So we can demonstrate, we can talk about that, reflect on that, and then people imbibe that. And then of course, high standards, excellent standards have to be set, so that we raise the bars and so that people look forward, not just to us, but beyond us, higher than us, that's there. And then what I have observed is that when we reflect, instead of just asking loaded questions like, are you happy with the organization, to use of what makes you happy, how can we be more productive, where all are we going wrong, those questions, the use of what, why, where, when, how much, are very important. And I develop people in different layers to go into these. And then, as I said earlier, regular reflection, recognition are very important, so that people feel motivated, people own whatever processes are going on, own the problems with a very positive attitude. And then I talked about this, that what we have observed is that networking with and building alliances makes leading organization much easier. So we are part of, I've been part of some organization which were part of different networks at local, regional, state level, national level, and international level. And Cohesion also is doing the same. So we can scale up together. There's scope of mutual learning. Lot of capacity building takes place. And then, of course, I can say that in the last few years, if we were earlier part of 2 networks, we may be now part of now 6, 7 networks, which has given increased visibility to the organizations, to the individuals who are involved with the organizations, those sort of things. So there are a lot of examples. There's like Voluntary Action Network India, RCRCs there at it was post-COVID, a network of almost about 90 organizations, which is running very effectively. And there are a few others this thing. And then, of course, there are more hands, minds, and hearts to support. And even access to resources. Like I can give you an example that being part of networks helped us carrying out our own entire audit exercise free. The resource people didn't charge us anything because we are part of network. Similarly, there is a ILSS, which is training professionals on leadership and other things. They gave 50% scholarship to us, and 25% scholarship was given by the network. So we, as Cohesion, we had to pay only 25% of the fee, which helps a lot. And then, of course, in mobilizing funds, networks play a quite big important role. Like during COVID, we wanted to facilitate vaccination, and then crypto said that they would fund only the RCRC partners first. So we got an opportunity, and luckily we performed the best. But yes, patience is mantra, because when we part of different networks, it's like a coalition government. So there has to be a lot of patience, and sometimes results may not be very fast because we have to follow the processes, we have to follow the transparency, there has to be accountability. And then, of course, there are other positive points that there's free guidance available. In fact, many times people give access to office premises, that you are coming to Delhi, you use our office for a few days, those sort of things, since we are part of that networks. So over to you, Dingankar.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Rajesh, you have been at this working for more than 40 years now. And out of that last 30 years or so, you have been leading this cohesion. So what is the secret, of sustaining energy, enthusiasm, and motivation to be inspired for all these so many years? Though I myself retired beginning of this year, but I think in your case, not only you yourself need to be motivated, and you need to motivate so many others. So how to sustain this energy all this time? That is one question. And another is, uh, especially for NGO sector, how is the financial sustainability? We are talking to young people, and they are going to have families, and they need to have a house, and they need to spend on their children's education as well as us. So how is the financial sustainability in this sector? I just request you to ponder on these 2 issues. Thank you.
Sure, thanks. First, it's talking about sustaining energy, through, and then fortunately for me, it has been for last 40 years, and I see it will continue for another few decades also. Of course, passion definitely is there, which I said initially that it cannot be taught, but then one has to practice that, one has to value a lot this thing. perseverance, also patience, because results don't come fast. So, but then we shouldn't get demotivated. We always use appreciative inquiry. And then one very important aspect which has helped me is that maintaining regular touch with different stakeholders, especially with communities for whom we work, and then of course other stakeholders like donors, our government, and international. Because see, but sometimes I used to get an increment of 1,000 rupees, so I should feel very happy. But then the same day, when I go to a village and I see a girl child who was not earlier, who had lost childhood, because she was not getting educated. She was more involved in taking care of her younger siblings. But once she starts, we facilitate her education, start going to school. The happiness on her face, or playing around, wearing school dress. So that gives so much of happiness to you, and that 1,000 rupees increment doesn't get that much. No, it doesn't bring that much of motivation and those things. Similarly, say if we see that a dairy woman farmer getting money from cooperative in her hands, because women get very little opportunities to get such resources in their hands. So all these motivate me to continue this thing. Then one practice I have followed is that I believe in delegation, which Dinganka, you also said in the beginning also, that it's not that I'm present everywhere, but I believe in a lot of delegation and decentralization. But be in touch with the outcomes of those delegations, whether that if results are coming or not. If those are coming, very good, how to build on those, how to sustain those, and how to those should grow. And second is, if those are not there, then what additional we should be doing. So that's another area which helps me keeping motivated. And then see, we cannot do the same thing for years and years. So as an individual, we have to, as an organization also, as well as an individual, we have to broaden our vision, broaden our role. Instead of, like, as I gave example, instead of now just managing our own organization, be part of different networks, those sort of things are there. Yes, as I said that we are as a learning organization, so as individuals also we should keep learning, expand our networks. And then these days social media gives a lot of opportunities. Use LinkedIn, use Facebook and other medium, so that we broaden our perspective. We meet different people, maybe virtually, and learn from them. As I said, that appreciative inquiry, which brings positive attitude as well as builds the organization and the sector. Both happen this thing. And one very important aspect which I follow is keep mentoring a lot of people, different people, and keep being mentored also. Don't think that I have 40 years of experience and I don't have to learn now. I've learned everything. So I depend on a few senior professionals for being mentored. And then when I say being mentored, and it's not just senior professional, I get mentored from one of my team members who may not be a graduate even, but he's very good in field aspects. So how I can imbibe those practices in my work also. So this is the first aspect, how we can sustain our energy. A second very important aspect which you have raised is, and then many NGOs are facing this, is that, and then many professionals also, because I can give an example, and then in 95, as part of an NGO, we went to IRMA for campus recruitment and as a pre-placement talk. And then students were, the participants were very frank. They said that, see, at least the NGO sector should see what the market value is, and we should be paid accordingly. So except a few professional NGOs, the number is very limited. There is good remuneration, financial package. Others are not able to pay that much. But you are right that there are a lot of now people have EMIs, their family aspirations, societal pressure also is there. So then how to manage these things? So what I have seen is that there are a lot of avenues also coming up. So the CSR foundations are coming up with good reasonable amount of remuneration. Then donors, national level, international level, which give opportunity to professionals like from IRMAn or other such developmental institutions. So one has to plan the career. One can, like me, there are many other individuals who remained in NGOs and then didn't choose CSR foundation or donors path, but a few of us, my colleagues, chose that. And so it depends on the individual what motivates a person more. But there are avenues. It's not that situation is not the same which was there 10 years ago or 20 years ago. There are now avenues and people should use those avenues. And then, of course, what I have believed is, and then we have practiced that also, is that there is need for, we should learn from women SHGs. How they save, how they invest, insurance, like IAA did a very good thing of health insurance. They are thinking of term insurance. So as young professionals, we should start these things. And I did that from the beginning. That's why I have been able to sustain that. So I can say that it may not be to that extent what my corporate sector colleagues would be, but my wife, my children, my parents, I could afford or I could provide all the basic amenities to them. So what generally I say is that there's enough for a need at my level, but not for greed. So these things help a lot. And so there is a need for patience, because sometimes we get impatient if we work with an NGO for 1 year and they say that we are not getting increase, we are getting time, proper time will come and we would be getting the recognition, both even in financial. So this is the current situation of NGO sector, where one has to plan the career very well. And we are ready to, as senior professionals who have worked, like Mohan is there, many of us are there, to mentor the people how career can be planned. So now I address both of these. Lincoln, in case if you have everything, so this is just my last slide. I would welcome feedback, questions from the people present here. If they wish to seek any clarification or any additional information, I would be very pleased to. And I would also welcome experience of the people here so that I get more learned and ready for new actions. Big thanks to all of you who are present. So over to you, Dingankar, if you have any other question. Otherwise, you can facilitate it to be addressed to the audience.
Yes. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. It was a very nice and detailed analysis of this leadership concept by Rajesh. And it's not only good for NGOs, the same principles apply for private sector too. And one of the new things I learned today is appreciative inquiry. In our companies, we have juniors everywhere and we want to assess them. And what we do most of the time is interrogation. So instead of interrogation, appreciative inquiry is something that I learned today. I welcome if anybody has any questions, and I'm sure Rajesh will be able to cope. Thank you all.
Hi everyone. So if anyone has any queries, they can unmute themselves, or they can put the query in the chat box.
Rajesh, Rajesh, can you hear
Yes,
me?
please. Yeah,
Yes.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I have a question.
Please. We're not able to hear you, Mohan. Please give the question.
See what we have done. Can I speak?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So what we have done, we have actually negotiated with IRMA that the alumni who we would open up some kind of a cooperative, collaborative space for the alumni to participate in consultancies, in MDP programs, for the participants there. So we, not perhaps right now, but maybe you could help us anchor this instances under the banner of Burma, but supported by, participated by one or two LM, brought in by the LM. And what they would require is to might not be eligible in terms of projects when it comes to consultancy or anything. Since you are in this area a while, I request you to we will reach out separately to you also.
I agree
We're
with you.
looking out
Your voice was breaking, but I could understand what you have been saying. I strongly believe that as this thing a development professional, I should get involved in these, and I would be one of the team members who would get involved in these things, because I have been involved by a number of, even by IRMA also, as in MDPs, and definitely I can be a part of the team of anchors who would be, or mentors who would be taking lead in that. Definitely.
Thank you so much. So we will reach out to you on that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Because that way we can contribute much wider instead of just restricting ourselves to our organizations. And I also request other, if there is any disagreement with whatever I have said, so I will also like to listen to that, and then in case I have to give a counter argument or support my this thing, I'll also try to do that. Either I'll get convinced or I'll convince you. Ram Kumar has said that President's talk was broken, and so can somebody put that question in the chat box?
Yeah, if anybody heard properly, can you paraphrase? Maybe Rajesh, you understood, so you yourself can, because I am actually in a hill station, so my connection is a little bad.
What I have understood is that you are having discussions with IRMA, so that there can be joint collaborations with IRMA as well as alumni for taking up consultancy programs together, sort of things. So, and then there will be need for some of us at alumni to encourage or take a lead or get involved, and then will people like me be keen to get involved in that? I think that's the question. I've responded to that. In case it's a different, then
Yes, precisely. Yes, precisely. Yeah.
Mohan, I hope IRMA doesn't talk vice versa, and ask you to scout for projects, which they will do. Hello, Mohan?
Pardon me?
I said, I hope IRMA doesn't come back to you saying you people should get projects for IRMA. Okay.
No, we can all have all kinds of skepticism. That's a different issue. The point is that there are a lot of our members who are in this space and who may not have the eligibility criteria when it comes to major projects. So it is our choice, why should we be, we choose what we want to do. So IRMA might come, might not come. I cannot speak for IRMA, but I can definitely speak for our members. In the sense that there are several of our members who are capable of taking up, say, a large monitoring evaluation project comes in, but they would say that we need it to be held by, an organization which has got so X number of years of vintage, so much of turnover, so much of staffing and stuff like that. So all of that will come from an institutional framework. So IRMA, we have been negotiating for last year. Though this year they have opened it up. I mean, only thing it depends on our initiative. So it is for us to take up that initiative. It is our responsibility. So that's where we need somebody like now. That's not my space or anything. And we have so many excellent anchors like, and people who are like Rajesh. There are others as well. So that's why the question came up whether he could help us.
Yes,
So
that's what.
because so that's a point. Yeah.
And there can be win-win situation for both institution as well as especially for young people, because as we have been what Jingankar had raised that
And
there's not
that,
much being
frankly,
paid by some of the
Rajesh,
NGOs. How
that,
sorry?
no, I'm saying even if IRMA wants us to scout, in the process, some of the alums get into good projects. I mean, it really doesn't matter, the way, it's the way we look at it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So it has there can be win-win situation for both. Either we scout
Yeah,
or
yeah.
IRMA
Thank you.
scouts, and then we come together.
So we have a question from Sunil. His question to you, sir, is: I felt power comes with leadership. Letting go of this power by senior leadership sometimes does not occur, which makes the juniors a bit frustrated and often becomes the reason for them to change path during early period. How senior leadership should handle this?
Yeah, we all have experienced that, because especially like people like Mohan, those who were from the first 2-3 batches, when we joined the organizations, we were taken in a much senior position than the fresh people, no, those organizations to take. And then there was used to be a lot of, by other our leaders, no, that sharing power was very difficult for them. So yes, I agree that sometimes it happens, but then one has first thing is that one has to be patient, and then there will be opportunities to show results for you, and you will be able to show results, and then there will be. I can give you my personal example. When I was with NGDB, when I was in one location where this atmosphere was there, our immediate superiors or our immediate leaders were not very willing to share the power, and they would create hurdles for us. But then we kept patient, and there were 1 or 2 opportunities where we were able to show the results to the topmost leaders. So which helped us getting recognized, which helped us. And then, in fact, in many situations, the top leaders bypassed our immediate leaders and started working with us. So these are also the examples, where one can this thing. And then collaborate with others. It's not just you who will be in that situation. Collaborate with others who are in the same situation. You work as a team, and instead of cribbing what that we are not getting power or we are not getting recognized, you just concentrate on results, on outcomes. Show the outcomes. Recognition will definitely come.
Very well said, sir. So with this, we have come to the end of the session. Is there anyone else who would like to ask maybe the last question of the day, or should we close? Thank you, CP Mohan sir, for being with us. Okay, fine then. Thank you so much, Rajesh sir, for such an informative and insightful session. It gives a feeling of joy to listen to a person who has diverse skills and very practical and deep understanding of leading organizations effectively. I thank our moderator, Jairam sir, for wonderfully facilitating this session. You made the session more comprehensible. Thanks to CP Mohan sir for making the session more fruitful. I thank audience for giving something as valuable as your time. So with your due permission, I would now close this session. We will upload the recording of this session on YouTube so that those of us who could not attend the session will get access to today's rich discussion. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.
Okay.
Thanks.
Rajesh.
Thank you.